In this episode of Retiring Today, we're talking taxes.
Tax planning shouldn't just happen in the spring. There could be steps you could take now to help improve your tax situation.
We'll introduce you to our tax planning playbook and talk to CPA Jeff Roman right now on Retiring Today. Welcome to Retiring Today. This episode is about tax planning for the end of the year. We all know about the date April 15th. That's the date most people file their taxes, but really you should be talking about planning a lot earlier than that. I'm here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial planner. And Loren, what you do is help people retire. You help families, you help individuals plan out their retirement. And when you plan out retirement, you also plan out taxes.
Well, we have to, because taxes represent a lot of our wealth that's lost, not only as we go through our working career, but also as we go through our retirement phase. We dream about this one time way down on the road called retirement. We think it's going to be easy, it's going to be this magical time, and then we get there and we realize that we still have this tax burden potential. We still have to buy out your partner, except for you have spent a lifetime accumulating this money. The majority of it is in this pre-tax account, where now we owe a big bill to Uncle Sam. And you will buy him out. It's just a matter of do you buy him out on your terms, or do you buy him out on his terms?
And you and I are both sports fans. You follow primarily the Chicago Bears, right?
Go Bears.
And I like to follow basketball. Drake women's basketball, most specifically, go Bulldogs, and we both played a little sports in our day. So playbook is something we both had in our hands at one point or another a few years ago, and followed a playbook. And so having some fun kind of with that concept, the marketing team here at Merkle Retirement Planning has put together a tax playbook. So look, we're making taxes fun right here on the show. You've got to stay tuned because we're going to make taxes fun. And we put some different things in the tax planning playbook. And first up, we're going to run the contribution play. Loren, what's the contribution play?
Well, and the cool part, before we get to the contribution play, that's the real good stuff. But the cool part about this tax playbook is the important part about planning and accomplishing objectives and goals is to have it in writing. So everybody knows, here's what I need to do, here's what I haven't done, here's what I have done, and we are much more likely, much more probable then to accomplish what it is we're trying to do. So one of the plays in this tax playbook, which by the way you can find online. So if you want this tax playbook, where do they have to go?
Merkleplan.com. So Coach Merkle, this is the coach here. He's going to draw up the play and we're going to see how to execute it.
The suspense, the contribution play. This is a big one because the contributions you make to your retirement plan is how you're going to take advantage of the eighth wonder of the world, which is compound interest. If we're not contributing,
yes, I never knew that.
It is. You can Google that.
The pyramids, the whatever the other wonders are, the Rock of Gibraltar,
and the big one, compounding interest.
All right, note.
And we can't take advantage of it unless we actually have an effective contribution strategy. And right now, we've never had as many options, as much flexibility on our contributory strategy as what we have right now. So specifically, what we're talking about is the most common type of contributory vehicle is the employer-sponsored plan, the 401k plan. Historically, we've been able to contribute this money on the pre-tax basis, means you don't pay taxes on the contribution going in, but when you take it out, you pay taxes on it. Most employer plans today offer the Roth option, which means you will be taxed on the contributions that go into it, but at that moment that contribution goes into it, you bought out your biggest business partner, Uncle Sam, on that money and the growth for the rest of the time that money's in the account. So you never have to pay taxes to Uncle Sam on any of that growth. And so whether you're in the pre-retirement phase or even in the retirement phase, then there is some strategy you could implement to take advantage of that Roth bucket. On the pre-retirement phase, make sure your contributions are going one way or the other, dependent upon what tax situation you're in and which is going to favor you the most, but at least that analysis to say I should have this much going pre-tax, this much going Roth, or a combination strategy to make sure you're taking advantage of the tax laws the best way you can.
Okay, good play, Coach Merkle. I'd like you to drop another one and preferably have him give the ball to Nelson this time. No? Okay, that's basketball. All right, we're talking about tax planning plays. It's our tax planning playbook, merkleplan.com. This play is called the QCD play.
Okay, I'm taking the ball. I'm going to drop it down low. Nelson keeps the ball high, turns, pivots, and
I make it.
Make it.
Every time.
Okay, the QCD, the Qualified Charitable Distribution Play, has never been more popular than what it has right now, coming off the heels of the 2018 tax change. Because what happened with the 2018 tax change is our standard deduction is now much greater than what it was prior, which means, and this is what a lot of the 503c companies were worried about, is that they're not, people donating are not getting as big or any deduction for those charitable contributions now as opposed to even a year ago. And so one way, if you're over 70 and a half or over, and you're required to take distributions from all of this pre-tax money, is if you don't need all of it or a piece of it, you can have that amount go direct to a charity as long as it's a qualified charity, and you do not have to pay taxes on it, and it suffices for your mandated amount to take out. So a real simple strategy, Nelson. Let's say your qualified, your required minimum distribution is $15,000 for the year. You only want to spend $10,000 of it. So you can have $5,000 of that go to your favorite charity, church, whatever organization you want to. You don't have to pay taxes on federal taxes on the $5,000. You only pay taxes on the $10,000 that you use, and that whole distribution suffices for what you were mandated to take out.
Okay, I like the play. It's fourth quarter. We got one more play in our tax planning playbook, and it is the Roth conversion play.
The Roth conversion are seriously misunderstood across this country. I hear this comment all the time is that, oh, I'm retired, it's too late, I'm too old, I'm way past the useful nature of the Roth IRA. And for some people that is true, but there needs to be that analysis done for your specific situation to actually verify that and try to identify any ways you can incorporate this within your plan. It's been really hard for retirees or even pre-retirees to accumulate meaningful wealth underneath the Roth because it hasn't been around all that long, only since 1998. And there's been income limits, so a lot of people couldn't contribute to the Roth. And when it started in 1998, you can only contribute $2,000 a year to it. So it's been hard to accumulate that meaningful wealth. One of the most opportune times for many people to start doing Roth conversions is the first full calendar year after they retire. So even if you're going to retire within the next couple years and you haven't established this Roth or built meaningful wealth, it may not be too late. This is something you need to take a look at, especially with the ongoing tax law changes. Look at it every year, evaluate your options, your availability, and then make that decision on what it is that you want to do. Should you do a conversion? If so, how much? If not, then at least you did your due diligence and you feel a whole lot better going into the upcoming year.
Okay, I like the plays. If you want to learn more about the tax planning playbook, go to merkleplan.com. But we've got more on this show, Retiring Today. We've got CPA Jeff Romanen. Loren and I have all kinds of questions for him. He'll answer them in just a moment.
Are you overwhelmed by planning for retirement? Are you currently retired and looking to maximize your retirement savings? Not sure where to begin? Join us for our complimentary Passport to Retirement class. You'll learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits, save money on taxes, and leave a legacy that lasts for generations. Spots are limited and classes fill quickly. Call us today at Merkle Retirement Planning.
Do you have a plan when it comes to taxes and your retirement? Retirees who engage in long-term tax planning before and during retirement feel more prepared and pay less in taxes down the road. Ready to get started? Join Merkle Retirement Planning for a retirement tax planning class, November 12th at 6 p.m. Spots are limited and classes fill quickly. Call us today or sign up online at merkleretirementplanning.com.
It's your retirement. How will you live it? How will you be remembered?
You'll be able to play with me. Oh, help me go to college. How will I remember you?
Have the retirement you dream about. Contact us today.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm here with Loren Merkle. He's a certified financial planner, and Jeff Roman, a CPA with the Roman Group. Today's episode is all about taxes. So of course we brought a CPA in because, Jeff, what you do for a living is taxes, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so we are talking mostly to pre-retirees and retirees about how a CPA can fit into their retirement plan. And when you talk to people that are in kind of this age range, how do you talk to them about how this works when they're pre-retirees or retirees?
We talk to them in a couple of ways. One, we want to remind people that the best thing they can do is talk about the planning as they go through. The worst time to go through anything is after it's already happened. So when we're looking at somebody that is thinking about retiring, the pre-retirees, we generally are going to tell them, as things are the status quo, we don't have to worry about them as much. Yes, there's some recommendations that we can make here or there, but the most important times of looking at everything is when your sources and uses of cash flow, investments, etc., are going to go through a substantial change. Obviously, during your working years, if you're a W-2, you're getting that same W-2. Numbers may be a bit different from year to year, but as you approach retirement, now you're going to replace that income with some other flow. It's important to go through a lot of planning at that point in time to make sure that you know where those flows are come from, what they're going to, when you're going to take them out, how you're going to take them out, what investments they need to be in, and working with that advisor on the investment side so that everybody has the same type of plan.
Yeah, really what you're talking about, Jeff, is that red zone to retirement, which is within 10 years of retiring, but now we're really breaking it down to a closer time frame to within really a couple years of retiring, where your cash flow delivery methods are going to change, right? When you're working, you're getting the money from the W-2 income, and now you're transitioning to the retirement. Now you have some different buckets, preferably, that you can deliver the income on, and this is where a lot of that tax planning can come into play to help you increase that spendable income.
Oh, absolutely. And if you don't pay attention to that, we always talk about the progressive rate brackets and the progressive nature of our system. There are opportunities where you go from high levels to very low levels, and most people will look and say, well, I don't need the income. Contrary to popular belief, our job is not to make sure you pay the least amount of taxes possible each year. Our job is to make sure that everything you do is done in the most tax efficient manner every year, which means that at times recommendations are made to create income in lower brackets to avoid larger brackets in subsequent years based upon what those sources and uses of cash will be.
Yeah, that just reminds me of something that we hear quite a bit. What we hear a lot, and you probably, Jeff, hear this a lot as well, is that when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. See, in this retirement planning thing, everybody likes these rules of thumb, and that's one of these generic things that a lot of people say they hear.
They just assume it's true.
And then they believe it's true. Mm-hmm. And in our experience, at least, that's not always the case.
Our experience has generally been that if you have to take 10 out of 10, you're actually going to probably get one person that retires in a lower tax bracket. You're probably going to get 5 or 6 that retire in roughly the same bracket they're in. You are going to get a couple that are actually going to retire in a higher tax bracket than they have been during their lifetime. We don't see that as often anymore, but again, going back to what we said, sources and uses of that cash change. So you go from, as you've talked about many times, you go from wealth accumulation to wealth distribution. And when you're doing that, there's a tax component on both sides. And if you do not pay attention to that tax component, you could end up like some of the clients that we've picked up over the years that'll be all excited at retirement time. I got $5 million for retirement. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit of a realist. I'll look and say, no, you got 3. As you talked about, your partner here, Uncle Sam, is going to take a certain amount away from you. So when you're doing that, if you just don't think about it until the day you retire, you've missed out on some opportunities. If you don't think about it till you get to 70 and a half with RMDs, you've missed out on a lot of planning opportunities. So the most important times are to really come. It's that 2 to 5 years prior to retirement, the red zone, as you've talked about. It's that kind of 2 years that overlap where you're starting to go into retirement, maybe you've somewhat phased out that actual year of retirement, and then quite frankly, it really is almost a 5 to 10 year planning strategy from a tax perspective while you're retired. Because you may retire at 62. You've got Social Security issues, which we'll leave in your court. I don't know all the ins and outs. I can tell you what's taxable, but I'm not going to tell you all the ins and outs. But you know what you have for Social Security. Do you have a pension? Is it IRAs? You also have to consider inheritance. Do you have aunts, uncles, moms, dads that have significant assets, and where are those assets? And how is that going to play into your retirement planning as well? Because if mom and dad have nothing but IRAs and you're the beneficiary, guess what? You've got an additional cash flow that you've got to worry about retirement time. And if you don't at least think about it and plan for it, you could end up paying a lot more tax on it than you would otherwise.
Yeah, right now there's 27 trillion that's in pre-tax money. That means that all that money, 27 trillion, is yet to be taxed by Uncle Sam. And we are going to go through one of the largest transfers of wealth that this country has ever seen, because the baby boomers and even the baby boomers' parents are aging, and that money, if they don't use it all, is going to be transitioned to the next generation. And during that transition, there's incredible tax opportunities to save money, but that also means there's a lot of holes, a lot of pitfalls people can fall into that can leave a lot of money on the table when it comes to taxes.
Absolutely. There's a number of things out there that, like you said, if you do not pay attention to, you just go through and let it land where it lands, and don't pay attention to the planning dates. And I always throw December 31st out as a huge planning date. The IRS and the state governments, they've drawn a line in the sand. They basically said if it happens between January 1 and December 31st, taxable this year. If it happens January 1st, December 31st next year, taxable next year. I can't tell you how many times people will call us the first week of January. I need to come in and talk to you about tax planning. You've just removed one of the biggest tools that we have available to us ahead of time. Right. It could go with your Roth conversions before the end of the year. It could do with additional distributions. It could have to do with the QCDs, the qualified charitable distributions you're talking about. Those are all things that we want to happen, and if they're going to happen, they need to occur by the end of the year. So we talk about all those things and what they go through. It's an ongoing process, a process that should not be ignored, and for a lot of people, they will view us, here's my stuff, do my taxes. Great, but it needs to be a lot more than that. Give people a call, give your CPA a call, give your advisor a call, talk about these things. That's really why we're here, and I don't know about you, Loren, but it's the one thing I enjoy the most about what I do. It's not putting that tax return together and handing it off to somebody. Right. It's all that planning that we do at the end of the year, where when we do the tax return, we can point to it and say, hey, we told you to take $50,000 out of your IRA even though you didn't need it. By the way, you paid $5,000 in tax on it. That's a 10% rate. Right. That is an absolute gift in the environments that we've been in over the years as far as where our tax rates go. Yeah. That's the joy and satisfaction of doing it. So, don't come in because we're looking for business or whatever. Yeah. We do it because we really want to make sure that people have more money in their pockets to do the things they want to do. That's the why. The why is because when you do the planning, you really have a true ability to impact somebody's life in a meaningful way for the better. Oh, yes. And going through that experience with them, right? You start at the very basic fundamentals of here's your situation, here's what you're trying to accomplish, and then you see them implement the strategies that you put together, and then you see the results. And that's the best part about everything that we do, and that's where the planning can really add value to people's lives, short-term and long-term. Yeah, the result is definitely the payoff for everything that we look at and what we go through. It is there's great satisfaction associated with doing all that and being able to do it. With that being said, we do need help from the clients and those people so that they understand what is needed, what they're looking to do. The usual planning that we get at the end of the year is, I need to come in and talk to you about the taxes. Okay, that's great. But they don't have a budget set up for cash flow. They're not really sure where all their money's at. They're not really sure what they want to take out of. They're not really sure what they want to do. And there's a lot that goes into that in conjunction with working with the advisors themselves, so that what plan we give from a tax perspective matches up real nicely with the cash flow plan that the advisor has as well. And that's one piece that's not talked about a lot, because if you come in, most CPAs are just going to say, okay, well, you can do this and you're at the end of this bracket. But if you take money from something that was designed as a long-term play for investment purposes, you just screwed up what the financial advisor wanted to see done. So there is a great importance here of making sure that the CPA works with the financial advisor. Some things we recommend are going to be in direct conflict with what the financial advisor says. Some things the financial advisor says will be in direct conflict with what we do. That's just the nature of what's there. But if it's not talked about and then you come to resolution on it, you haven't done what's best for the client overall.
That's the thing, is that there's going to be conflict in what it is that you're putting together versus what is the retirement planner is going to be putting together. And if there's no communication or connectivity between those levels of expertise, that's where that conflict can really create anxiety and decisions that are poorly made for the client. When there's that connectivity and we're working together, then everybody can sort out, yeah, here's an idea over here, here's an idea over here. Now what's going to be the best idea and implementation plan for you? And that's the benefit of really working together and getting everybody around the table to work in your favor on your behalf.
Yeah, it feels like what you're saying too gives the client a choice. At least they've heard both sides of the table talking and go, okay, I like that, so I don't like that. I mean, do you find that even though sometimes maybe your philosophies are different, because you do two totally different things, but they have a lot of overlap, you just kind of give the information to the client and then they decide?
Our job really is to present the various alternatives to the client. Talk about the pros, the cons that go with each one of them. From our perspective, have them get the pros and cons from the other perspective. Ultimately, at the end of the day, what we tell everybody and what they should hear from everybody else is, it's your money, it's your decision.
That's right.
Our job is to give you the information in regards to that.
That's right.
We will have, I don't want to say certain biases, but we do. We'll have certain biases within what I do that we will expect to see certain things, but it does not mean we're right all the time. But as long as we approach it and we say, here's what you can do. Here are the things you can do. Here's the pros, here's the cons. They may do something completely opposite of what we would hope to see. I know Loren has kind of the same situation. They may do something completely opposite of what he would like to see. But we know at least then we've presented everything, and that is that planning. And that's what a lot of people miss out on. I think they forget, I get viewed as a CPA, I do taxes. And that's true, I do. But that's not where the value lies. The value lies in getting to the why. What are the results we can get out of this? And is why we tell people, go in, talk to them. It could be a simple 15-minute conversation on the phone. Guess what? Everything's the status quo. I'm not retiring for 5 years. Do we need to start doing any planning yet? Well, probably not, but let's have a quick talk. What do you have for investments? Where's your advisor at? What are you doing? Goes back to, are you Roth contribution, regular contribution? Are you looking to do more non-qualified stuff? Are you happy with what you got and you're looking at more asset-based, hard assets? I want to buy a second home in Florida, that type of thing.
Lots of
so
things
many
go into
things.
it. Yeah, it's been really good, I think, to hear from a CPA's perspective, and hopefully great for the viewers out there. Jeff Roman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
We will come back with a little bit more Retiring Today. We're going to wrap up what we've learned on taxes when Retiring Today continues.
Women face a different set of challenges in retirement. Don't let these challenges keep you from your retirement dreams. Attend Merkle Retirement Planning's Women in Retirement class. Empower yourself with retirement income strategies, long-term care options, and ways to leave a lasting legacy for your loved ones. Call us today, 515-278-1006, or visit our website at merkleplan.com. Do you have a plan when it comes to taxes and your retirement? Retirees who engage in long-term tax planning before and during retirement feel more prepared and pay less in taxes down the road. Ready to get started? Join Merkle Retirement Planning for a retirement tax planning class, November 12th at 6 p.m. Spots are limited and classes fill quickly. Call us today or sign up online at merkleretirementplanning.com.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm here with Loren Merkle, certified financial planner. We've been talking about taxes today. It was kind of interesting to have CPA Jeff Roman on in the past segment. And we want to wrap up what we've talked about today. And Loren, one of the first takeaways is don't wait until April to think about taxes.
Yeah, if we wait till April, then we're just recording history. We don't want to record well, we do want to record history, but we want to record history after we've done the tax planning. If we wait till April, then the tax planning is gone. We're just recording history. There's little you can do to positively impact what you pay in taxes.
And Jeff had another good point that's also a takeaway. January 1 can be too late for some things. So as you think of the end of the year, you need to talk to your CPA or your financial advisor before the year ends.
Many of the really effective tax strategies need to take place before 12/31. So if we're waiting till Jan 1, a lot of those strategies are off the table till the following year. We don't want to let opportunities go when we have them.
It's a good idea to have a good CPA on your team.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, especially, like Jeff said, if on a scale from 1 to 10, you're anything below a 10 as far as confidence of are you doing the right thing from a tax perspective, having that professional on your team can only help improve your odds against Uncle Sam.
Tax planning is just one of the pieces of an effective and successful retirement. There are 4 other components that you sit down with families and make sure are part of their plan each and every day.
The income piece, the tax piece, of course, which is what we're talking about today, healthcare, long-term estate planning, and then also the investment planning piece. And they're all integrated together. What you do from an income standpoint can dramatically impact the level of tax that you pay. What you implement from a tax strategy standpoint could dramatically impact where you take your income from. What happens with your legacy transfer, all of this stuff is integrated. So what we don't want to do, what we really want to do, is make sure that we don't use a siloed approach, that we have an overall umbrella comprehensive plan to account for all of the moving parts underneath.
And we call that plan the Merkle Retirement Method, and it helps families each and every day retire successfully. Another resource that we want to tell you about is the Passport to Retirement classes. There's something that you can come to. They're free. They're held several times throughout the month. They're held several places throughout the metro. There's a website on your screen right now. It's called passportclass.com. And Loren, why should people come?
PassportClass.com, or the Passport Retirement classes, are designed for those within 10 years of retiring or already retired. One of the hardest parts about the tax planning or the income planning or any of these pieces of the retirement plan is just getting started. It's inertia. Once you get the ball rolling, it becomes much easier. You get to see how the value is demonstrated specifically to you, and then it just gets easier as you go. So the Passport class eliminates the hardest part about all of this planning, which is just getting started.
So we talked about tax planning today, but there are many other pieces of the retirement puzzle. You can go to our YouTube channel to look at some of our past episodes to see what those retirement pieces are and learn about them, or you can watch another episode of this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
Women face a different set of challenges in retirement. Don't let these challenges keep you from your retirement dreams. Attend Merkle Retirement Planning's Women in Retirement class. Empower yourself with retirement income strategies, long-term care options, and ways to leave a lasting legacy for your loved ones. Call us today, 515-278-1006, or visit our website at merkleplan.com.
From our family to yours, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. We hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you next week.